Before the video starts, I just want to let you know there will be a channel update at the end, so stick around for that since some of the stuff in there is important. So if you want to know some stuff, skip there if you want to know, but with that out of the way, let's get to the video.
I'm back.
What's up, guys? It's been so long. It's been like a month since I've last... No, I think it's 2 months since I've last uploaded. The issue was that I had an issue with Adobe Creative Cloud, which my account was locked out. I was locked out of my Adobe Creative Cloud account for a total of 2 months, and because my sign-in was considered invalid, then one day I checked and it was valid again. So they fixed it. So that's amazing. So now I can edit again and make these awesome videos for you guys. So I'm so happy. This was a video I was originally going to make in early September or late August, but sadly that's been delayed because I still have the file, but I couldn't work on it. But now I can. So here it is. The Intamin 10 Inversion coaster is an iconic model that has been built all over the world for nearly 20 years. From England, Italy, Russia, and even China, this model has seemed to have conquered the world when it comes to how common it seems to be. However, this record-breaking model would not have been possible without a lesser-known model that dates all the way back to 1998 with only 8 inversions, which started off as a little-known coaster in Latin America known as Monte Makaya. So today, we'll examine this first large-scale multi-inversion coaster from Intamin. There's a lot of interesting stuff about this ride, and it has a very interesting story that I think you guys would like to hear. But anyway, let's get on with it. Mid-1990s, a new major project was underway in Rio, one of the most notable cities in Brazil. This project would involve the construction of a major new amusement park, which would have included more than 60 dining options, including a restaurant from the Planet Hollywood company. The new park was being hyped up to be one of the biggest in Latin America, with over $220 million in investments given to the park. This park was planned to open in late 1997. However, they needed a key headline attraction to be built for the park's debut, and for that, the team called Intamin, a respected Swiss company who installed rides all across the world. So, Intamin began coming up with a new design for this coaster. It was decided that it would be a multi-inverting model. However, it would not be a smaller, compact one like the previous installations. Instead, it would be a large-scale coaster with large inversions and big drops. This ride would be designed to match the inversion record of the time, which was a total of 8 inversions. This ride would still be somewhat compact, with rapid-fire inversions in a rectangular-shaped layout that would wrap around itself. The ride would use the same classic original trains as the other installations, such as Disneyland Paris's Indiana Jones coaster, and Movie Park Germany's Cop Car Chase, which I have made a video on, which will appear in the iCard above. But anyway, construction eventually began in order to make the late 1997 deadline. However, the park's original October opening would suddenly be delayed by 2 months until December, putting the ride's opening on hold. The park's opening would be delayed again until January of 1998, where it actually opened to the public. However, these issues would just be the first cracks that were beginning to show in the project, as despite people wanting to buy tickets even before the park's opening, the park's actual opening was a disaster, with few rides and attractions opening up. It was clear that the park was not complete, which led to angry guests. Despite a Pinfari Zyklon being added the following year, the park was really never able to make it to the point where it was promised to make. The park quickly became somewhat run down and not maintained as well as other places, especially with some of the future issues with the property. However, the new coaster, known as Monte Makaya, which opened in the African section of the park, did have its opening go relatively smoothly compared to other parts of the park, with no severe or major issues or incidents being known to happen in its opening years compared to other Intamin coasters at the time. Looking at the ride itself, it was very similar to later 10 inversion coasters that were mentioned earlier, but before we compare, let's look at the layout for this ride. After ascending the 121-foot tall lift hill, riders would glimpse at the beautiful landscape and mountains of Rio before entering a turnaround and entering the main drop, followed by a large vertical loop, where in between, the ride would reach its top speed of around 50 miles per hour before entering a speed hill after the loop and turning around via a cobra roll. This was then followed by 2 corkscrews before a left turn to a series of 3 heartline rolls, which would disorient riders and provide some thrilling and nice hang time. The ride would then finish off with a helix before hitting the final brake run. So, how is this initial ride compared to the later 10 inversion model? Well, the first difference is the trains. As I mentioned, Monte Makaya uses more bulky and classic trains found on other rides like California Screaming as compared to Colossus and even Avalancha, which was another 8 inversion coaster and a near clone of this ride, which also opened in 2002, the same year as the first 10 inversion model. These newer rides built in 2002 and after used a more modern and open train design with chassis resembling that of their mega coasters, which were popular at the time. Another difference is also in size. Though Colossus was longer in track, Monte Makaya was taller at 121 feet compared to Colossus's 98.4 feet and having a top speed of 5 miles per hour faster than the newer inverting counterpart. Finally, there was also a difference in how the elements and parts of the ride were executed. Apart from the obvious 2 extra inversions on Colossus, which extended the Heartline roll sequence to a 4 inversion instead of 3 inversion sequence and added another Heartline roll right before the brakes, Colossus lacked the helix Monte Makaya had to end off its ride, a design decision likely done to conserve momentum. It might be debated which is better, but the lower the ground hang time for longer certainly sounds better to me. Sadly, only Colossus stands today, as Monte Makaya would eventually close down forever, so why? The first major sign that this ride was having issues, apart from the park's rocky start and reputation, was the major station fire that broke out in 2004. Not much is known about this fire, apart from the fact that one of the ride's trains was completely destroyed, leading the ride to have 1 train ops from that point forward. It's almost guaranteed that much of the control systems and components and other moving parts of the ride were also damaged or destroyed, making for a costly repair bill. The fact the park could not get a new train was also a serious red flag with their issues with upkeep. Although it could simply be argued that this was due to the fact that the type of train on the ride seemed to have been recently discontinued at the time. Heck, the park in its troubled state could have pulled a La Fiera de Chapultepec and used unauthorized parts and poor quality maintenance, which would have seriously impeded its safe and proper operation of the ride, though this is purely speculation as no evidence of this happening actually exists. Nevertheless, the ride, like others at its park, began to deteriorate, developing a rusted track and structure in the process. However, the final nail in the coffin would be in June of 2010, when a woman fell off one of the park's rides and sadly died, leading to an investigation which shut down the park. At this point, the operatives gave up and abandoned the park, with the mighty ride still in it. Monte Makaya sat SPNO until 2016, where it was taken down and put in storage, with some plans of being rebuilt at another park being published. Though, with the recent pandemic and other big issues with building this ride is a major risk of being outright scrapped in the coming years. It's getting more and more unlikely as time goes on that this ride will ever open again. This ride seems to have been forgotten for 2 main reasons. The first reason that this ride seems to have been forgotten is the fact that the coaster was located in Brazil, which is not considered a huge destination for coaster enthusiasts. That is, unless you're Richard Bannister, of course, but still, this ride is sadly overshadowed by many other coasters located in more convenient spots for roller coaster enthusiasts to travel to. Second, the ride is overshadowed by the 10 inversion model, which had much more installations across the world and is far more recognized by enthusiasts and the general public at large. So, if the ride is so forgotten about, why should it be remembered? Well, it was the basis for the 10 inversion coaster, as Intamin, working with Thorpe Park, John Wardley, and Werner Stengel, were able to build the 10 inversion ride directly off this ride's design. The fact that this ride is a prelude to such a widespread model that's still having installations today is more than enough to give this coaster a spot in the history books. As well, This ride tied the inversion record of 8 at the time, as I previously mentioned, which was a big leap for Intamin. This ride was one of the rides that started their golden age in the late 90s and early 2000s, with impressive rides like this and others like Millennium Force, the first Giga Coaster, and the debut of their Mega Coaster model, all of which were a far cry from their small installations of the multi-inversion coaster they had been building before. Overall, this was an interesting and innovative ride which allowed its builder to go on to create more wildly successful projects, and a successful cloned model which would be built multiple times worldwide, and become very well known as well. And it's ultimately quite sad this interesting and unique ride experienced the fate that it did. Anyway, that'll be all for today. If you want to know about the update, I'll be making a few changes, such as rolling back uploads to every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so there will be no more new videos on Wednesdays, sadly, since I have schoolwork now to do and finish, and I need extra time to do it. I will try to make up for that by having slightly longer videos compared to some of my previous content I posted over the summer. You should expect midweek uploads to return sometime in March or April of next year, where I will have more time to focus on videos and content, as well as start getting on more rides and finally start boosting my abysmally low credit count with some nice new credits. I've got ideas for where I want to go, but that won't be decided for a very long time, so don't get your hopes up. I still hope to provide you guys with some very good content even through this hiccup, so I hope you can forgive me. I will also be posting a 100 subscriber Q&A very, very soon. I'll post the announcement video where you can comment your questions under when I hit around 90 subs, and when I hit 100 subs, I'll try and post my official Q&A video for 100 subs. I'm so glad you guys can help me get there, and I thank you. Just note I won't be able to answer any personal questions about myself, or too personal, I don't know. If there's a question I can't answer, I'll tell you. I'll try to tell you. I'll specify about the rules and what you might not be able to ask in the video if I can, so stay tuned for the announcement. But I think that's about all for the update. Thanks for watching and supporting this channel and allowing it to grow so much over such a short amount of time. I hope you all enjoyed, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, you know the rest, and peace out.